Okay, so now we have the biceps. So we got RS on the left side here, on my left, Anovos on my right, your left. So let's go ahead and, so a lot of people were complaining, there's a thumbprint, they did something wrong in the production part. You see here, this is RS, and it has a thumbprint. So this is here, it's supposed to be here. So if you put them together, they are very similar. The lines are just a tiny bit different, but it's pretty close. Actually, this one, the RS, is just a little bit wider right here. I can put my finger in here. So it could be the mold, could be that this is a sharper detail, but they very much fit right in with each other. But it's just a little, slightly bit different, almost like that one forearm. So this is the same arm for this one. So you put it on here. This one actually fits a lot better than that the other bicep part. But again, if you see here where Anovos has this, it's off just a slight bit right here. So you can kind of stick your finger in there just a little bit. But other than that, it's very close, very similar. So this one, it's still thin, but it's still a little bit thicker. The RS is very, very thin. But this is good because you want the plastic flexible so that it doesn't just crack on you. Alright, so here's the other one. Put them together. Doesn't quite, if I have to push on it really hard to get it to go together. So these are just a slight bit different. So one thing, if you notice, when you did put the Anovos together, is that there is no ridge on either side. Same thing with RS, there's no ridge. Some armors makers do have a ridge, but RS and Anovos don't. So here's this one, totally different. So this piece is same length, this piece thicker here, and it's shorter. So if you look at here, you can see how much different they are. Very close everywhere else, except for this part right in here. So if you were to put the pieces together, it is a little bit shorter when you put them together. So if you line up the bottoms, but then again, when you start cutting it, you trimming these pieces to fit, it'll probably end up lining up better. Because these are, if I was to put them on, these are way too big. I would swim in these. It would be way too big for me. So once you trim it down, it'll fit a lot better. But the Anovos, they're already the same length, both sides. So once you trim them down, then you're going to have to worry about how this piece arches up, and this piece, it might end up being a little bit shorter once you get to putting it together. Same thing with this piece. They're lined up, and they line up. And then this one, these pieces line up, and these pieces line up. So I couldn't tell you exactly why this side doesn't, but this side definitely does not line up, but this side does. So that's the biceps. Similar, but not as similar as the other pieces. So one thing I forgot to add when I was showing the two pieces is the RS was a sand trooper, so it didn't have a sniper plate. It also did not have the ab buttons here And it did not have the shoulder straps. But we'll go ahead, since we're showing you all the other pieces, we'll show you how much similar they are. They're very close to the same length. You put them on top of each other, they're very similar. One side here is thicker and thicker. One side here is thinner and thinner. Same thing with all these, they're all the same. The only difference with the rest of the armor is that the detail is a lot sharper. You could feel the ridges a lot more when you run your fingers through here.
On the Anovos.
Than on the Anovos and on the RS. It's the only difference. But they're very much similar in size and width. So here's the Anovos 2527. Here is the RS. So there's no numbers on any of the parts on the RS. There are numbers on the Anovos. One thing I can tell for these two is this side is very thin right here. If you look right here, I don't know if you can tell, it's very thin right here. If you look at these two, they're both very thick. Same thing with this one. It's very thick down here. So if you were to put these together, there's a big difference here. There's a lot of room right in there. So these do not, see, you can tell here, they do not line up. At least this side. Let me see the other side. Neither do these sides. They don't line up either. And then also one thing I'm noticing is down here on the shins. If you look at the shins, it's more of a gradual here. It's got more of an angle here. And then this shin, I don't know what they did. They got two lines here. Obviously you're going to probably cut all this out and you're going to cut it here. But these are more angled here. These are more gradual. In a second, I'm going to put, once I look at all four of them, I'm going to see if I can put them together and see what fits best. I know a lot of people were having problems. Maybe Anovos mislabeled them. They're having problems putting them together. So now we'll do the other side. So here's the other side. This is 24 and 28 of Anovos. And there's no number for the RS. So looking at down here, kind of has a little bit of an angle. Same thing with these. Kind of have a little bit of an angle there. Same with that one. So these look very similar. And we'll see, putting them together, see if they're a lot bigger. Okay, this one is very close. It's just a little bit different right here, but it sits in there very close. This part is a little bit different. Right here it kind of curves in. On this one it goes the other way. So instead of curving in like here, you can see it curve in. Where the line is, it goes that way. But these two do seem like they would fit together. At least better than the other side. Same thing with these, they look like they fit together pretty good. Just a little bit short here. One's Anovos is just a little bit longer than the RS. But they seem like these fit together a lot better than the other legs. So they're very similar here and here. So, one thing with the RS is they have that ridge in the front so that you go 10 in, no ridge in the back on either side. Same thing, and they've already made the line where you go the 10 in. they have it on both of these. Here, it's not quite as apparent. They kind of lost the ridge here, but they have it here. And then in the back here, it kind of looks like it has a ridge. Same thing with this side. It looks like it has somewhat of a ridge. But on the RS, it doesn't. There's no ridge on either one in the back. In the front, there's a ridge on both sides of the RS. In the back, there is no ridge. There's no ridge at all. So there's a ridge in the front, not quite, not as predominant, but this one you can see it. In the back, no ridge. So now I'm going to go ahead and see which ones I think go together. Instead of trying to figure out the numbers, I'm just going to put them together, see what looks best, and we'll see how much different. I'll do the same thing with this one.